What if I told you that The Secret to Getting Rich was written over 250 years ago? No, not by a billionaire or a Wall Street investor, but by Benjamin Franklin, the guy on the $100 bill. His essay, The Way to Wealth, is packed with simple, powerful advice on how to escape financial struggle. But instead of just listing tips, let's dive into 3 unforgettable stories that show how his wisdom still applies today. Story 1. The Man Who Thought He Had No Time. Work hard and value time. Meet Tom. Tom always complained, "I just don't have time to work hard." Yet every morning he slept in. When he woke up, he'd chat with friends, scroll through nonsense, and promise himself that tomorrow he'd get serious. One day he heard an old man say, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of." It hit him like a punch to the gut. He looked around. His hard-working neighbors had built businesses, secured their future, and were moving ahead in life. And where was he? Still making excuses. By the time he tried to change, it was too late. He had wasted the one thing he could never get back, his time. Lesson? Time is money. Waste it, and you waste your future. Story 2. The farmer who dripped his wealth away, frugality and debt avoidance. Then there was Jack, a farmer who made good money, but he had a spending problem. Every time he saw something nice, he'd buy it. A new coat? Fancy dinners? Why not? Trinkets and decorations? It's just a few coins. One day, poor Richard saw Jack at the market and warned him, "Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship." Jack laughed. "Come on, it's just small stuff. I'm not spending that much." Fast forward a few years. Jack's farm was failing. His savings were gone, his debts piled up, and he had nothing left. Meanwhile, his neighbor, who made the same money but lived simply, bought more land, hired workers, and became truly wealthy. Jack finally realized it wasn't the big expenses that ruined him, it was the tiny leaks that drained him dry. Lesson? It's not how much you make, but how much you keep that matters. Tash Story 3. The merchant who lived rich but died poor, self-reliance and avoiding debt. Then there was Henry, a merchant who wanted to live rich before he was rich. He wanted the best clothes, the finest food, and the biggest house. But he didn't have the money, so he borrowed. Every time he saw something expensive, he thought, "I'll just put it on credit. I can pay it back later." Poor Richard shook his head and said, "Rather go to bed supperless than rise in debt." Henry didn't listen. He enjoyed his fancy life until the debt collectors showed up. One by one, they took everything he had. His house, gone. His business, sold off. His reputation, destroyed. And the worst part, the things he borrowed money for, the fancy clothes, the parties, the luxuries, were all worthless now. Meanwhile, his competitors, who had lived simply and built wealth slowly, now owned the market. Lesson? Borrowing for luxury today turns into chains tomorrow. Final takeaway, the true way to wealth. Benjamin Franklin's wisdom is timeless. Use your time wisely. Every wasted minute is lost potential. Spend less than you earn. Tiny leaks in your budget will sink your finances. Live within your means. Debt may feel easy now, but it's a trap that steals your future. Follow these principles and you'll be on your own way to wealth. Now, which of these stories hit home for you? Let me know in the comments.